Greetings, YouTube. Coming to you from South Florida. I wanted to talk a little bit. I haven't really been doing YouTube much lately. You know, sometimes we need to take time and let the story develop. You know, and just kind of engage in things. You know, that kind of help us move forward. But you know, I wanted to come back and just talk about, you know, that transitioning into healing process. And you know, I used to teach a class that gave, you know, that we would go through the stages of grief. And dealing with a narcissist is definitely a traumatic experience for, I think, for anyone on any level, especially dealing with a covert narcissist on a long-term basis, you know. But what I really want to get in today is just talking about transitioning into healing and that process. It's a long process, and for some it's long. It may be longer than others. But you have to stick to the rules. You have to play by the rules. You have to continue to invoke the authority that you have over your life. Your right to be free of toxicity. Your right to be free of drama and games. You know, you have the sovereign right and the obligation to the pursuit of happiness. And you owe it to yourself to want more for yourself. And that's where I am right now in the process. I'm convincing myself that, listen, I deserve more from a partner. I deserve more out of life. I deserve someone that is truly committed to me. Because if I continue in the same mind frame in which I left the narcissist, you know, I'm gonna put myself in a precarious situation. For example, a couple of months ago, I was still, you know, hurting. I was still healing. I was still trying to figure some things out, and it was an unhealthy place. But you know, we as empaths, we always want to have someone there. We always want someone to love. That's just the reality of it, because we're empathetic people, you know. And as empaths, I think we talk so much about the narcissist, but we kind of overlook the empath and the characteristics of an empath. An empath needs someone to love, you know. And I'm just being real about it. We need someone to love. We need someone to share. It's like we as empaths, we have that need for love. And you know, it's, in some cases it can be a vulnerability, of course, as you see. Many of us have gotten caught in the web of the narcissist. But you know, it also is a beautiful thing to have the kind of heart that loves and that wants to love. You know, but again, you know, I've been really weighing things out. I've just really been taking a really strong look at my life, and I realized that I'm beginning to heal. I'm beginning to see who I am, you know, because during the discard phases, I was treated like a dog. You know, I was treated like an animal. I was disrespected. I was emotionally abused. And you know, let me tell you, it hurt so bad, because this person basically went back to day one, and they began to question me and make me think like I lied to them, like I misrepresented who I was. But let me tell you something, the narcissists they're really ignorant people if you step out of your emotions, and that's how they've been getting you. And they really think that you're stupid, because they don't see you as human. They see you as material. And once you begin to invoke your authority, your understanding, once you get your balances, and once you get your stability, you'll begin to see how ignorant they are, and you'll begin to understand and realize that a lot of this stuff that they was talking to you, it was foolishness, but you gave them a pass. And really, I think that's where the narcissists really get us impasse, because we're so quick to give people a pass because of our empathetic nature, because of our loving nature. But if you really examine them, you'll realize how stupid they are and the stupid stuff that they were saying and doing. And for example, with my situation, it was all, of course, I met mine, in a religious setting. And, now was the thing where, okay, like you tricked me, you fooled me, you said you were this and that, but you weren't. Just all kind of lies. And, I was on drugs when I married you. I don't know what I was thinking about. And, you're too black, and you're too this, and you're too that. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, wow, like, and this is how I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was dealing with a narcissist. Because sometimes you question. So as I began to really examine their statements, and I said to myself, I say, wow, so if you were struggling with the marriage, with the relationship, why it took you 12 years to figure out you made a mistake in the beginning? Number one, you a liar. You're a liar. You're a deceptive person, and you're not a truth teller. You don't tell the truth, because what you're saying, you just really contradicted so many things by saying that. And again, I began to analyze, what was being said. And as I began to really get to the core of what they were saying, I realized that it was stupidity, and that this person looks stupid, but they're parading around, they're drawing people in, they're creating a smear campaign, because they got to make you look negative. They got to make themselves look like the victim, when really the reality is they the demonic ones. So again, as I began really playing on these things, and then just really praying and meditating, I realized that I was dealing with something of a demonic force, that I was dealing with the liar, I was dealing with the deceiver, and that's what you have to understand, that what you've been dealing with. And this individual started bringing up things I've never heard in a relationship. My family, these people told me that you were no good for me, and this and that. I say, well, it took you all those years to come to that conclusion. And I had to realize, I say, I've been dealing with a clown. I've been dealing with a fool. And why should I be a fool? Why should I devalue myself for this person? And I said that to myself. I say, listen, you can have all of the people that bought into your stuff, but eventually the people who bought into your stuff, they're going to begin to see who you are. And it's funny, because now someone very close to the narc, they're coming to me complaining, saying that they hate that person. They hate the individual. But a couple of months ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was the bad guy. But now that person sees that this person is not who they're saying to be. So again, the narcissist will sabotage their own self, but they're crippling you with their words and their false ideologies and their delusional mindsets. And again, you need to continue to stay away. You need to continue to separate yourself. And listen, I can say this freely and openly. I'm so glad that I separated myself from that toxic person. And I didn't even realize how much venom was in me. I didn't realize how much negativity that was planted in me, that I was struggling with, because of being tied into this person. And now I'm finding freedom. I'm beginning to find myself. I'm beginning to do certain things, and this is what the healing process is about. It's about you waking up and realizing that, listen, if someone devalues you, if someone doesn't see your value, then that's not something you need to be engaged in. You can't give your pearls to swine. So again, be encouraged, continue to heal. It's a long process, and just like the grief process, you may go back into denial. You may go back into bargaining. But listen, if you just continue to work on yourself and to focus and to be positive and find positive things to do and positive people to be around, you'll begin coping with the loss. And I just believe that's where I am now. I'm coping with the loss. I understand what happened, because you have to understand that in my narc, my situation, I met this person, on spiritual terms, and it tore my faith. It tore at my faith a little bit, but I didn't lose my faith, But again, you have to remember, man, you got the devil walking in church. You have deceiving people walking in church that have an agenda, a hidden agenda, But again, we as empaths, we have God in our heart. We have love inside of us, but narcissists, they struggle with some inherent evils. And listen, it's beyond you. It's not your payroll, your pay grade, your position. It's not your calling to try to figure them out. And I hope you continue to awaken. I hope you continue to get strong, and you continue to move forward, and you continue to identify toxic people. Listen, I'm so thankful for that experience, because listen, I see toxic people out the gate, and I will really be mindful and cautious before investing into them, or investing my time, or or putting much trust, when it comes to toxic people. Because after you've been bitten, and just like the movie Once Bitten, after you've been bitten, you have a better respect, a better understanding of the power of toxic relationships. So again, I encourage you to keep healing, keep growing, keep thriving. That this is a part of life, this is a part of change, and that we as survivors, we need to tell other people about this disease. Let me tell you, it had me in a place where for months I couldn't function, I couldn't work. I had become like an alcoholic. But I somehow the Father in heaven just gave me the strength, and now I'm back to myself. I'm feeling myself. And listen, I don't need nobody in my life that's gonna sit around for years and try to reap the benefits off of me and discard me. I don't need nobody in my life of that virtue, of that magnitude. I don't need it. I don't want that. That's not attractive. That has no value to me. I look for people who are not compelled by things that are superficial, but I look for people that share the same spiritual values I do. So that there's been a complete paradigm in my thinking, and even in my approach, and even in my pursuit, for the right partner. So again, be encouraged, continue pressing, stick to the rules. Don't contact them, don't reach out to them, don't give them any power. That's what they want. They want you to break down, they want you to come to them. Why? Because the inherent evil in them is trying to get your weakness to be exploited and exposed so they can have power over you. That's all it is. And that in essence is a form of evil. It's a form of sorcery, it's a form of witchcraft, and it is contrary to happiness and the human spirit. And you don't need it in your life. So again, continue thriving, continue pressing, continue healing yourself, continue letting the Father heal you. And listen, you're gonna come through it. I made so many strides, but it took a couple of years. It took some struggling, it took some depression, it took some anger, it took some pain, it took some crying, it took some hurting. But listen, it was all worth it, because now I can stand and tell my sister and my brother that listen, you've been devalued, that you've been manipulated. And those forces of darkness that are hovering over you and that are pulling at you, they're not real. And the minute you begin to take back your authority, the minute you begin to say, I refuse to accept this, I refuse to buy into this, I refuse to take on this negative energy, I refuse to carry this depression, I refuse to be a victim or collateral damage to these games, the minute you begin to invoke that authority, or even over your own self, and not being church, not being spiritual, not being religious, you will find that your strength come back. You will find that your power comes back. Because listen, you are taking control of you. You are taking power and authority over your own destiny, over your own thoughts, over your own feelings. And listen, you have to be positive. You have to keep going. You have to keep pressing. It's not as bad as you think. But listen, if you keep going, if you keep being diligent, if you keep being consistent, in the by and by, you're going to know why. So again, YouTube, I want to continue documenting my side of just healing more, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing once you come out of it. It's such a beautiful thing, and I don't hold any malice towards that individual. Matter of fact, I love them even more. But listen, I understand that what they struggle with is bigger than what I can do, say, or entreat them to. What they're struggling with is bigger than me, and all I can do is just let them go and just really know that this was something tragic. It was something that was devastating, but at the same time, from the spiritual side, it strengthened me, it empowered me. And that's how I have closed the chapter and moved on.